Hi and welcome to Vintage Doll Collector. Today I want to share with you some of my recent finds. Usually most of the dolls I show you are ones I purchased for resale, but in this video almost all of them are things I bought for my own collection. In the last doll show video I did, I promised to show you the special doll I bought at the show. Here she is. This is Polly by Madame Alexander. She was only offered in the Alexander catalog for 1 year in 1965. She's in such beautiful condition, I just fell in love with her, and I got her at a good price too. She's all original. Her dress has a skirt of pleated tulle with a taffeta slip underneath. She's got a lovely hairstyle with a strand of sequins to match the dress. Here are her shoes. This is the black version of the same doll. Her name is Leslie. I actually showed this doll in another video of my trip to the flea market in Brunswick, Maine. I didn't buy her then, but I kept thinking about her, and after I got Polly, I went back up to the flea market. I was so happy to find she was still there. She's not in as good shape as Polly, but her dress is original. Leslie was actually sold for a few more years. This outfit is from 1968. The other thing I got at the doll show this spring was this group of topper dolls. These are 4 of Dawn's friends. This one is Jessica in her original stewardess outfit. This one is called Long Locks. Her hair's been cut, but she has a pretty face. This is Ron. And this is Dancing Angie, although she's wearing a regular Angie outfit. When you move her left arm up and down, she turns her head and hips. They're a nice addition to my little Dawn collection. At a flea market a month or so before that, I got another one of Dawn's friends. This one is Dale. I also got this very cool Petite Wig Boutique set. This is a Dawn clone, bald head with tiny wigs. Aren't they awesome? And in a lot of doll stuff I got from somebody who answered my Craigslist ad, I also got this mint in package Dawn outfit called Fuchsia Flash. As you can see, the box is totally flattened, but the outfit is still in mint condition. Things like the stockings and shoes are so hard to find loose. Here's another little doll I got through Craigslist. This is one of the Hasbro Dolly Darlings. She's called Powder Puff. They have molded shoes, but she's missing one of the little bows on the shoes. This is my other rooted hair Dolly Darling. This one is Tea Time. They were made in the mid-1960s. This one's obviously a fixer-upper. She's a little Miss Revlon by Aide from the late 1950s. I found her on Etsy, and the price was very reasonable because she needs cleaning and restringing, which obviously I haven't gotten around to yet. Otherwise, she's in good shape. I didn't have a little Miss Revlon, so I was very happy to get her. Her hair is 2 different shades of blonde. I've seen this on other dolls. I don't think it was intentional. I think it's a mix of 2 different hair fibers, and one has changed color over the years. When I get her all restrung and dressed, I'll show her again. This is a Flagg doll, part of a series they did of international dolls. This one is representing Mongolia. I found her in an antique shop. There's a card in the box that shows the line of international dolls, as well as the dollhouse families which they're better known for. I may have mentioned in my previous videos that I collect dolls made in New England, which if you're not from here is what we call the 6 states that make up the northeast corner of the United States. The Flagg dolls were made in Jamaica Plain, which is a neighborhood of Boston in Massachusetts. If you look at the address on the card, you can see it has a zip code. But on the box, it says Jamaica Plain 30 with no zip code. Zip codes were introduced in the mid-1960s, but it took a few years for companies to finish using up all their supplies with the old address. So this helps date her to that time period. Here's another antique shop find from another company in Massachusetts. This hard plastic doll was made by Irwin. The smaller Irwin dolls up to about 6 inches are pretty common, and I have a few of those, but the larger ones like this guy are a little harder to find. This one is 9.5 inches tall. What I love about him are his side-glancing sleep eyes. He looks a lot like the Kewpie dolls, don't you think? Okay, this is the only doll in this video that's not vintage, but she's a reproduction of a vintage doll, Madame Alexander Nurse's Aide Joanie doll from the early 60s. This one came out, I think, maybe 10 years ago. She was actually made by Ashton Drake under license from Alexander. She's a Play Pal-sized doll, 33 inches tall. She's beautiful, but I don't have room for such a big girl, so I sold her on eBay. I enjoyed her while she was here, though. This pretty baby doll is by Royal. She's in her original box. Here you can see her cloth body. And here's a better look at her face. Isn't she cute? On the end of the box is written the name Tamara, but the number that's written here above the name didn't match the number on her wrist tag, so I don't know if she's actually Tamara, maybe in a different outfit, or if the box got switched with a different doll or what. If you know, please leave me a comment. I won her in a raffle at my doll club meeting. I won these little celluloid dolls in the raffle too. Actually, somebody else won them, and they didn't want them, so they gave them to me. These 4 are all made in Japan. The boy and girl appear to go together. Their faces are very similar. Unfortunately, he's missing an arm. The other 2 are also a pair. I would bet they originally had crepe paper skirts, but they're long gone now. I like their molded hairstyles with the tiny curls across their foreheads. This is another celluloid doll. This one I found at an antique show where there are very few dolls at all, so I was happy when I found him so it wasn't a totally wasted trip. He was made by yet another Massachusetts company, Viscaloid. I have 2 other similar dolls, but they're all different sizes and have slightly different faces. None of them have any clothes, just molded shoes and brown socks, so I'm not sure if you were supposed to dress them or if they were just meant to be bathtub dolls or what. I have to restring his arms. Now this isn't a doll, obviously, but I thought it would be a great accessory for somebody. This is actually a salesman's sample of a rotary dial phone. I found it at a flea market. My husband and I had a full-size phone, just like this one when we were first married. Yes, I am that old. This doll is Dynamite by Mego. I was very excited to find her in an antique mall because I had one when I was a kid. She was sort of a cross between a fashion doll and an action figure. She had accessories and play sets which were mostly sports and action-oriented, like a health spa and a ski chalet, and a bicycle and a motorcycle. But she had extra outfits too, so she could also be a girly girl. She has lots of extra joints, so she's really posable. The most interesting thing is her double-jointed neck. It's jointed at the top so her head can turn back and forth, but also jointed where it connects to her torso so she can tilt her head in any direction. Very cool. The same dealer that had Dynamite also had this Amy doll hairstyling booklet. Amy was a Hasbro doll from the 1970s who came with wigs and hair pieces. This booklet shows an illustration of what her head looks like, bald with holes in it that you plug the hair pieces into. You can position them different ways to make different styles. I don't have Amy, but the booklet is a start. This sweet baby doll was made by Goldberger and marked on the back of her head with their EG trademark. She's 10.5 inches tall and has bent legs, so she can't stand up, but she sits nicely. I love her bright blue eyes and adorable chubby cheeks. She's a drinking wet doll. This appears to be her original outfit. The hair ribbon is stapled right to her head. Ouch! EG dolls are tricky to identify because there aren't any reference books on them and there isn't a big group of collectors to do the research and exchange information. If you know who she is, please leave a comment. Here's another one of my New England-made dolls. She's by Grant Plastics, which was located in Massachusetts at one point and then moved across the border to New Hampshire. I have quite a few of their dolls. They're all the dress me type, but this one I hadn't seen before. She has a sort of Tammy type face, but with more almond-shaped eyes, with a swirl ponytail hairstyle. I think they stopped making dolls in the 1970s, but stayed in business making other items until sometime in the 90s. And here's another Grant Plastics doll. This one is a Ken clone. I got 2 of them in different color swimsuits. As far as I know, they never made a Barbie clone, at least not that I have found. If you know of one, please let me know. He's marked 1963 Grant Plastics on the back of his neck. I've got to find a nice outfit for him, then maybe he can be a boyfriend for Tressie. This doll is the vinyl version of Vogue's Jill doll. The Jill that most everyone is familiar with is the hard plastic one that was made from 1957 to 60. The vinyl version with the bubble cut hairstyle was made in 1962 and she was called All New Jill. In 1963 she had a sort of beehive hairstyle and darker lip color and she was called Sweetheart Jill. I'm still looking for one of those. I have plenty of Jill outfits so she has lots to wear. This gown looks nice with her peachy pink lips. These Dollhouse family dolls are called Twinkie Dolls, and they were made in Lynnfield, Massachusetts in the 1940s. They're made of a very shiny hard plastic. I found the mother and the little girl with the dress in an antique shop, and then in a different shop I found the other little girl. I decided to keep both little girls because they're hand-painted, so they're slightly different. I'm on the lookout for the rest of the family. There's a father and a little boy and a baby. Once I get my sewing area set up again, I'm going to make Mom something to wear. Maybe I'll make them all matching outfits. This big baby is Madame Alexander's Baby Precious from 1974. She's all original and has her hang tag. You'll notice that her blonde hair is also 2 different shades, like the little Miss Revlon. The section that makes her forehead curl is much darker than the rest. I found a few other examples of Baby Precious online, and they all seem to have this. This is a hard plastic Sandra Sue doll, which I won in another doll club raffle. She was made by Richwood Toys in the 1950s. She's all original, and she also came with this felt coat, which I think is beautifully made. I took the coat off because it makes her arms stick straight out. Sandra Sue was also made in a high heel version, but this one has the flat feet. This is Colonial Girl by Mattel from their Star Spangled Dolls series from 1975. I got her on eBay. She's made from the same mold as Steffi from the Sunshine family. I was happy to find her with the curls mostly all intact. She came with her original box, which was in rough shape. Unfortunately, the seller put it in a plastic bag and put tape all over it, some of which stuck to the box, so now it's in even worse condition. Oh well, she was cheap, so I can't complain too much. The back of the box shows the other dolls in this series. Now these are some of my latest acquisitions. I got them at an auction just last week. They are Dolls of All Nations by Duchess Doll Corporation. Most Duchess dolls are the little 7-inch size. These are 12 inches tall, and I couldn't find too many of them out there in this size. They have the same outfit, which, despite the name, doesn't appear to represent any particular nation. One is a blonde and one's a brunette. I won't keep these, but they are pretty. Here's a look at what's under her dress. Thanks for joining me today. If you'd like to be notified when I have new videos posted, click on the subscribe button and the little bell icon. See you next time.